Hey everyone, it's Nicole Wilkins with FitnessRx for Women, and this is my next question and answer segment where I took your questions from Facebook and I'm going to answer them for you today. The first question I have is, when I do a variety of exercises, including but not only deadlifts and squats, my hip flexors begin to ache, which is a major distraction from the major muscles I'm supposed to be focused on during the lifts. I assume this is because they are so tight. How do I address the issue of tight hip flexors? A couple of things you can do is what's called a runner's lunge. So put one foot in front of the other as far forward as you can, kind of like a lunge, except your back leg is straight. And then press your hips down as low as you can so that you really feel it in the hip flexor of the leg that's behind you. Another one you can do is like an upward dog, like you would do in yoga, or even take a yoga class. I highly recommend doing that. It's a great way to increase your flexibility, which can help with the range of motion, especially when doing major exercises like a squat and a deadlift. The next question is, do you advocate including a stretching class like yoga or Pilates into your weekly routine to lengthen your muscle, etc.? Well, just like I mentioned in the previous question, I absolutely recommend it. Stretching is something that people neglect really often. And if you can dedicate at least one day a week to our yoga class, you can see a world of a difference from that. Not only does it help with your flexibility, of course, but also range of motion, decreased risk of injury, stress relief, increased blood flow. I mean, there's just so many benefits to doing yoga and or Pilates. I've actually never done a Pilates class, but I do love yoga. I usually do vinyasa, which is a little bit of a faster flow. It's not so hot. It's a heated room, about 90 degrees or so, so you're still sweating, but it's not as hot as a Bikram class, and it's a lot more advanced than like a hatha yoga or a slow flow. We're actually doing inversions and stuff, so it's a lot of fun, and if you've never tried it, I recommend it. Okay, I keep hearing that abs are made in the kitchen, and you have said a few times in these question and answer sessions that to get a six-pack, you need to lose overall body fat. So my question is doing abdominal and core exercises really necessary? Abs are the only thing I dread working out, and if I don't need to and can still get great results, that would be great. Yes, abs are made in the kitchen, but you also need to have muscle in order to see the definition once your body fat is low. I think that it's important to train your abs at least a couple times a week to help with keeping your back strong, so you reduce your risk of back injuries. I mean, you do incorporate a lot of abs in a lot of work exercises that you're already doing. Whenever you're doing anything overhead, you're using your core to stabilize yourself. You're doing a compound movement like a squat or a push-up, you're using your core and your abs. But it doesn't hurt to hit your abs at least 2 times a week. Just like 3 exercises. Do an upper, a lower, and a twist. So like a crunch, a leg lift, and then a twisting crunch or something like that. And that should be good. Would you recommend a superset circuit style lifting routine to burn fat, build muscle, or just lifting heavy on lifting days and keeping cardio to hit on non-lifting days? There is no one way to gain muscle and lose fat. There are so many different methods and diets and training techniques and training reps and sets. I mean, there's just an infinite number of ways you can get lean. And what works for one person isn't going to work for somebody else. Can you build muscle doing circuit training and supersets and stuff like that? To a point, yes. But circuit training is usually very short rest periods with higher repetitions, and that's more for maintaining or burning calories. It's not really for increasing a whole lot of muscle mass. If you're trying to build muscle, I don't recommend doing circuit style training all the time. I would recommend keeping your repetitions between 10 and 15 and resting a little bit longer, about 45 seconds to a minute between each set. No less than 30 seconds and no more than 2 minutes. And focusing more on not so much the number that you're trying to hit, or whether it's a drop set or a superset or so on and so forth, but more about the blood flow that you're getting to the muscle group. Are you feeling what you're supposed to feel when doing a particular exercise? If you're doing bicep curls, you shouldn't be feeling it in your triceps or your shoulders. You should be focusing on your biceps and getting as much blood flow as you can, so focusing on that pump. And if that takes you 20 reps to feel that pump, do 20 reps. Lift as heavy as you can for as many reps as you can. If you're doing more than 15 or 20 though, I would increase the weight. So challenge yourself and don't be afraid to lift heavy, but also make sure that your form is correct. Do I incorporate supersets? Yes. If I'm short on time, do I do circuits? Yeah, of course. If I am looking for an intensity technique to add to my workout, I'll do drop sets. Are huge for me. I love drop sets. It just burns and really helps me feel and get as much blood flow as I can to that particular muscle group. I do a technique sometimes called FST7, which is 7 sets of an exercise, about 10 to 15 reps, resting about 30 seconds to 45 seconds between each set. So that's a great way to finish your workout or start your workout. So that's a great technique to increase the blood flow and stretch the muscle fibers to break them down so that they rebuild and you get stronger. So, I mean, there's many different ways. Have fun with your workouts, but most important, focus on that mind-muscle connection and getting the blood flow. So those are my questions for this week. Until next week, ask your questions on the FitnessRx for Women Facebook page, and I'll be back every Friday to answer them for you. Until then, keep living the fit life.